The story of Rolls-Royce represents one of the most extraordinary journeys in automotive and engineering history, spanning over 120 years of innovation, luxury, and technological advancement. From its humble beginnings in a Manchester hotel meeting to its current status as the world's pinnacle of automotive luxury, the brand has weathered wars, financial crises, corporate takeovers, and technological revolutions while maintaining its reputation for creating the best car in the world. The Rolls-Royce legend began on a fateful day, May 4, 1904, when two men from vastly different backgrounds met at the Midland Hotel in Manchester. This historic encounter would forever change the automotive landscape and create a brand that would become synonymous with ultimate luxury. Henry Royce, 1863 to 1933, was a meticulous engineer and perfectionist who had built his reputation through his electrical and mechanical business established in 1884. Born into modest circumstances, Royce had worked his way up from humble beginnings, developing an obsession with engineering precision that would become the hallmark of the brand bearing his name. By 1904, frustrated with the poor quality of available automobiles, Royce had built his first car, a refined two-cylinder vehicle that demonstrated his commitment to engineering excellence. The Honourable Charles Stuart Rolls, 1877 to 1910, represented the complete opposite end of the social spectrum. Born into aristocracy as the third son of Lord Languedoc, Rolls was educated at Eton and Trinity College, Cambridge, where he studied mechanical and applied sciences. Despite his privileged background, Rolls was a passionate motoring enthusiast and aviation pioneer who had established one of Britain's first car dealerships, C. Thess Rolls and Company, in Fulham, West London, in January 1902. The introduction was facilitated by Henry Edmonds, a mutual friend from the Royal Automobile Club who was also a director of Royce Limited. Edmonds had been impressed by Royce's two-cylinder car and arranged the meeting between the engineer seeking a market and the aristocratic salesman seeking a superior product. Despite Rolls's initial preference for 3- and 4-cylinder engines, he was immediately struck by the quality and refinement of Royce's two-cylinder vehicle. The meeting proved transformative. Rolls recognized the exceptional engineering quality of Royce's work, while Royce saw an opportunity to reach the luxury market through Rolls's established dealership and social connections. On returning to London, Rolls enthusiastically told his business partner Claude Johnson that he had found the greatest motor engineer in the world. Following their initial meeting, Rolls and Royce formalized their collaboration through an agreement signed on December 23, 1904. Under this arrangement, Royce would manufacture cars exclusively for Rolls, who would have the sole selling rights. The vehicles would bear the combined name Rolls-Royce and would be produced in 4 different configurations: 2, 3, 4, and 6 cylinders. The first Rolls-Royce car, the Rolls-Royce 10 horsepower, made its public debut at the Paris Salon in December 1904. Notably, early advertising emphasized Rolls's name over Royce's, reflecting the commercial importance of the aristocratic connection in reaching wealthy clientele. However, this partnership arrangement was merely the precursor to a more formal business relationship. On March 15, 1906, Rolls and Royce formalized their partnership by incorporating Rolls-Royce Limited with an initial capital of £60,000. The company structure reflected the importance of each partner. Royce was appointed Chief Engineer and Works Director with a salary of £1,250 per annum plus 4% of profits exceeding £10,000, while Rolls received £750 per annum plus 4% of profits. Claude Johnson, who had joined as Commercial Managing Director, also received £750 per annum and a profit share. To raise additional capital for expansion, the company was floated on the Birmingham Stock Exchange on December 11, 1906, seeking £100,000 from public subscription. However, the flotation initially struggled, with only £41,000 subscribed by the day before the offering. The situation was rescued when Company Secretary John DeLue secured £10,000 from wealthy businessman Arthur Harry Briggs, who became a board member in return for his investment. The need for expansion led to a search for suitable manufacturing premises. After considering sites in Manchester, Coventry, Bradford, and Leicester, the company chose Derby due to the City Council's offer of cheap electricity. The new factory, designed by Royce himself, covered 12.7 acres on the southern edge of Derby. Production began in early 1908, with the formal opening on July 9, 1908. Conducted by Sir John Montague. The model that would establish Rolls-Royce's reputation for creating the best car in the world emerged in 1906 with the introduction of the 40/50th horsepower, later known as the Silver Ghost. Originally, this was simply the company's new six-cylinder model, but one particular car would elevate the entire line to legendary status. The 40/50th horsepower model represented a significant engineering advancement over earlier designs. It featured a new side-valve, six-cylinder engine of 7,036 cubic centimeters, enlarged to 7,428 cubic centimeters in 1910, with cylinders cast in 2 units of 3, rather than the earlier triple two-cylinder configuration. The engine incorporated several innovative features including a 7-bearing crankshaft with full-pressure lubrication and an especially large center main bearing designed to eliminate vibration by essentially splitting the engine into 2 3-cylinder units. The legendary status of the Silver Ghost began with chassis number 60551, registered AX201. This particular car, the 12th chassis built, was prepared as a company demonstrator by Commercial Managing Director Claude Johnson. It was fitted with a Barker open-top ROI Desbelges body finished in aluminum paint with silver-plated fittings, earning it the nickname Silver Ghost to emphasize its ghost-like quietness. The Silver Ghost's reputation was forged through an extraordinary series of trials beginning in 1907. The car first participated in the Scottish reliability trials, immediately followed by a remarkable endurance test involving nearly 15,000 miles of continuous driving, including 27 trips between London and Glasgow. This demonstration of reliability and refinement prompted the prestigious motoring publication Autocar to declare it the best car in the world in 1907, a phrase that Rolls-Royce would adopt and maintain to this day. The Silver Ghost's technical excellence lay in its combination of advanced engineering features, pressurized lubrication, dual ignition, and sophisticated fueling systems resulted in a reliable, smooth, and flexible power plant. The car initially featured a 3-speed transmission, replaced by a 4-speed unit in 1913, and evolved continuously throughout its production run. Engine power grew from an estimated 48 horsepower at launch to approximately 80 horsepower by the end of production. Silver Ghost production continued until 1925, with 6,173 chassis manufactured in England. Additionally, between 1921 and 1926, Rolls-Royce operated a manufacturing facility in Springfield, Massachusetts, producing an additional 1,703 chassis known as Springfield Silver Ghosts. The model's success established Rolls-Royce's reputation for engineering excellence and luxury that would define the brand for generations. The outbreak of World War I in 1914 marked a pivotal moment in Rolls-Royce's history, transforming the company from primarily an automotive manufacturer into a major producer of aircraft engines. This diversification would prove crucial to the company's long-term success and establish a parallel business that would eventually become even more significant than automotive manufacturing. Responding to a 1914 British Admiralty requirement for an aircraft engine of approximately 186 kilowatts, 250 horsepower, Rolls-Royce began developing what would become the Eagle engine. Development commenced in 1915, with the first experimental engine running in February 1915 and producing 168 kilowatts, 225 horsepower. The Eagle became the first production Rolls-Royce aircraft engine to see service during World War I, with a total of 4,681 Eagles manufactured at the Derby facility, including 3,302 of the Eagle 8 models built between 1917 and 1922. The Eagle 8 powered numerous British aircraft including the Airco D.H.4 for A, D.H.9A, Handley Page H.P.12O, the 400, and many others. The success of this engine established Rolls-Royce's reputation in aviation and laid the foundation for decades of aircraft engine development. During the war, civilian car production virtually ceased as the company focused on military needs. The Silver Ghost chassis proved adaptable to military requirements and was used as the basis for a range of Rolls-Royce armored cars. To increase production capacity for aircraft engines, the Air Ministry commissioned several shadowed factories, including a new facility at Crewe that would later play a crucial role in the company's automotive production. By war's end, Rolls-Royce had supplied more than 60% of all British-built aircraft engines used in World War I. This experience not only established the company's credentials in aviation but also provided valuable lessons in large-scale manufacturing and precision engineering that would benefit both the aviation and automotive divisions in the decades to come. The period between the two world wars represented a time of significant growth and innovation for Rolls-Royce. The company continued to develop both its automotive and aviation businesses while establishing itself as a leader in luxury and engineering excellence. In 1925, the Silver Ghost was replaced by the new Phantom, later known as Phantom I. The new Phantom featured a larger engine than its predecessor and utilized pushrod-operated overhead valves instead of the Silver Ghost side valves. This model was built at both Derby and Springfield, Massachusetts, with several differences in specification between the English and American versions. The Phantom was succeeded by the Phantom II in 1929, which used an improved version of the new Phantom engine in an all-new chassis. A significant development was the introduction of the Continental model, which featured a shorter wheelbase and stiffer springs for improved handling characteristics. This version was developed after Henry Royce had Ivan Evenden design him a one-off short wheelbase Phantom II designated 26EX, which won the Grand Prix d'Hongrie at the 1930 Biarritz Grand Concours d'Elegance. The company's aviation business continued to flourish during this period. Building on the success of the Eagle engine, Rolls-Royce developed a series of increasingly sophisticated aircraft engines, including the Kestrel, which served as a precursor to the famous Merlin engine. One of the most significant events in Rolls-Royce's corporate history occurred in 1931 with the acquisition of Bentley Motors. The Wall Street crash of 1929 and the resulting Great Depression had severely impacted demand for Bentley's expensive motor cars. By July 1931, Bentley could not meet 2 mortgage payments, forcing the company into receivership on July 10, 1931. The acquisition process involved considerable intrigue. While Napier and Son appeared set to purchase Bentley, they were outbid by the British Central Equitable Trust, which offered £125,000. However, the British Central Equitable Trust was revealed to be a front for Rolls-Royce Limited, and even W.O. Bentley himself was unaware of the true purchaser until after the deal was completed. Rolls-Royce's motivation for the acquisition was partly defensive. The company was concerned that Bentley's new 8-litre model was proving successful and attracting customers who might otherwise purchase the Phantom II. By acquiring Bentley, Rolls-Royce eliminated a competitor while gaining access to the sporting luxury market segment. Under Rolls-Royce ownership, Bentley production moved to the Derby factory, with the Cricklewood facility being sold in 1932. The first new model under Rolls-Royce ownership was the Bentley 3.5-litre, introduced in 1933, which was essentially a sporting variant of the Rolls-Royce 2025s. Rolls-Royce marketed it as the silent sports car, a slogan that continued to be used for Bentley vehicles until the 1950s. W.O. Bentley remained with the company until his contract expired in April 1935, after which he left to join Lagonda. All Bentley models produced from 1931 to 2004 would use inherited or shared Rolls-Royce chassis and adapted Rolls-Royce engines. The Phantom III, launched in 1936, represented the pinnacle of pre-war Rolls-Royce engineering and would be the last model that Henry Royce worked on before his death in April 1933. This model marked several significant firsts for the company and showcased the advanced engineering capabilities that Rolls-Royce had developed. The most notable innovation was the introduction of a V12 engine, the first in a production Rolls-Royce. The aluminum alloy V12 displaced 447 cubic inches, 7.32 L, with a bore of 3.25 inches and a stroke of 4.5 inches. This pushrod engine featured overhead valves operated by a single camshaft positioned in the valley between the cylinder banks. Unusually for the time, The Phantom III employed twin ignition systems with 2 distributors, 2 coils, and 24 spark plugs. The chassis also represented a major leap forward in automotive technology. For the first time in a Rolls-Royce, the Phantom III featured independent front suspension, a significant innovation that considerably improved both ride comfort and steering control. Royce's design team incorporated numerous smaller engineering advances that reduced the transmission of noise, vibration, and harshness from poor road surfaces. The combination of these innovations made the Phantom III one of the quietest and smoothest riding cars of the 1930s. When fitted with lightweight coachwork, it was capable of reaching 100 miles per hour. The model also featured advanced conveniences such as onboard jacking and a one-shot chassis lubrication system operated by a lever inside the driver's compartment. During development, 10 experimental Phantom III motorcars were built between 1934 and 1937 under the codename Spectre, a name that would later be revived for the company's first electric vehicle. Production began in August 1936 with the first chassis sporting a saloon with division body built by H.J. Mulliner. In total, 710 examples were produced before car production ceased in 1939, with the last Phantom III purchased in June 1940. World War II marked another crucial period in Rolls-Royce's history, during which the company's aviation engines played a decisive role in the Allied victory while automotive production was suspended for military priorities. The company's most famous contribution to the war effort was the Merlin engine, which powered some of the most iconic aircraft of the conflict. The Rolls-Royce Merlin, a liquid-cooled V12-piston aero engine with 27-liter capacity, had been under development since 1933. Initially known as the PV-12, it was later called Merlin following the company's tradition of naming 4-stroke piston aero engines after birds of prey. The engine benefited from racing experiences of precursor engines developed during the 1930s. The Merlin's significance cannot be overstated. It powered legendary aircraft including the Supermarine Spitfire, Hawker Hurricane, Avro Lancaster, de Havilland Mosquito, and the North American P-51 Mustang. Starting at 1,000 horsepower for the first production models, most late-war versions produced just under 1,800 horsepower, with the very latest version exceeding 2,000 horsepower. Over 50 versions of the Merlin were built during its production run. Rolls-Royce manufactured engines at Derby, Crewe, and Glasgow, while Ford of Britain produced them at their Trafford Park factory near Manchester. The Packard Motor Car Company also built over 58,000 Merlins in the United States under license. In total, almost 150,000 Merlin engines were delivered before production ceased in 1950. The Merlin's impact on the war was profound. It enabled the RAF to win the Battle of Britain in 1940, powered the long-range fighters that provided escort for Allied bombers over Germany, and drove the heavy bombers that carried the war to the enemy's heartland. The engine's combination of power, reliability, and continuous development made it one of the most successful aircraft engines of the World War II era. To increase production capacity, the company established shadow factories, including the expansion of the Crewe facility. A total of 166,000 Merlin engines were produced during the war. Very few civilian cars were completed after 1940, as production concentrated on aero engines and their variants for use in tanks and naval vessels. The end of World War II brought fundamental changes to Rolls-Royce's automotive operations. The company realized that the pre-war model of producing only rolling chassis for specialist coach builders was no longer viable in the post-war economic environment. For the first time in its history, Rolls-Royce would need to design and manufacture complete cars with standard bodies. The transformation began with a major operational change. While the Derby plant continued as the center of aero engine production, car manufacturing moved to Crewe in 1946. The Crewe facility had been established during the war as a government shadow factory to boost aero engine production, and its conversion to automotive use marked a new chapter in Rolls-Royce's manufacturing history. The first post-war model, the Silver Wraith, entered production in 1946 with the earliest chassis completed that year. By the end of 1946, the first two cars were finished with bodies by Hooper, and production continued until 1959 with a total of 1,883 manufactured. Initially, the Silver Wraith was still supplied as a chassis to specialist coach builders, maintaining the traditional Rolls-Royce approach. The most significant change came in 1949 with the introduction of the Silver Dawn. This was the first Rolls-Royce to be sold with a standard pressed steel body, marking a revolutionary departure from the company's traditional practice. The pressed steel company of Cowley was approached to manufacture the bodies, and Rolls-Royce launched its post-war program in spring 1946. The company was initially cautious about public reaction to its first non-coach built cars, but the Silver Dawn was well received. Demand proved strong, especially in America, and a new domestic market emerged as well. The Silver Dawn featured a 4,257 cubic centimeters six-cylinder engine that was enlarged to 4.5 liters by 1954. A total of 785 Silver Dawns were built until 1955. Simultaneously, from 1950 to 1955, Rolls-Royce produced its flagship Phantom exclusively for royalty and heads of state. Only 18 were built, powered by a straight 8-cylinder 5,677 cubic centimeters engine. This model maintained the company's tradition of serving the world's most prestigious customers while the mainstream production adapted to post-war realities. The next major model change occurred in 1955 with the introduction of the Silver Cloud I. This model represented Rolls-Royce's commitment to modern manufacturing while maintaining the luxury and refinement that defined the brand. The Silver Cloud featured the then-current 4,887 cubic centimeters engine but introduced a completely new pressed steel body design. For customers who still desired custom coachwork, a separate chassis remained available on special request. The Silver Cloud marked the widespread adoption of automatic transmission in Rolls-Royce vehicles, although a few manual transmissions were still available. This model successfully bridged the gap between traditional craftsmanship and modern manufacturing efficiency, establishing a template that would guide Rolls-Royce through the following decades. During this period, Rolls-Royce's aviation business continued to flourish. The company developed increasingly sophisticated jet engines, building on the pioneering work of Frank Whittle and the wartime development of early jet engines. The transition from piston to jet engines represented another technological leap that paralleled the automotive division's evolution from traditional to modern manufacturing methods. The late 1960s brought Rolls-Royce to the brink of disaster due to the mismanaged development of the advanced RB211 jet engine. This crisis would fundamentally reshape the company and lead to the separation of its automotive and aviation businesses. The RB211 project began with great promise as Rolls-Royce sought to develop a revolutionary high-bypass turbofan engine for commercial aviation. The engine was intended for use in Lockheed's L-1011 TriStar wide-body airliner, and Rolls-Royce secured the contract with aggressive pricing and ambitious performance promises. However, the development faced significant technical challenges, particularly with the carbon fiber fan blades that were intended to be a key innovation. Material failures and the need to redesign critical components led to massive cost overruns. The original contract price proved wholly inadequate to cover the actual development and manufacturing costs. By January 1971, Rolls-Royce had become insolvent, and on February 4, 1971, the company was placed into receivership. The financial collapse seriously jeopardized the L-1011 TriStar program and threatened to cause a chain reaction of failures in the aviation industry. The crisis had international implications. Because Lockheed was also in a vulnerable financial position, the British government required that the US government guarantee the bank loans that Lockheed needed to complete the L-1011 project. If Lockheed had failed, the market for the RB211 would have evaporated entirely. Recognizing the strategic importance of Rolls-Royce to British industry and national defense, the Conservative government of Edward Heath nationalized the company. In May 1971, a new company called Rolls-Royce 1971 Limited acquired the assets from the receiver and signed a revised contract with Lockheed. This new agreement cancelled penalties for late delivery and increased the price of each engine by £110,000. To resolve the remaining technical problems, Hugh Conway persuaded Stanley Hooker to come out of retirement and return to Rolls-Royce as technical director. Hooker led a team of other retirees, including Cyril Lovesey and Arthur Rubb-Bra, to fix the RB211-22. The engine was finally certified on April 14, 1972. About a year later than originally planned, and the first TriStar entered service with Eastern Airlines on April 26, 1972. The 1971 bankruptcy had profound consequences for Rolls-Royce's corporate structure. In 1973, the British government decided to separate the automotive business from the nationalized aviation company. This led to the creation of Rolls-Royce Motors as an independent entity, allowing the nationalized parent company Rolls-Royce 1971 Limited to concentrate on jet engine manufacture. The newly independent Rolls-Royce Motors continued to operate from the Crewe facility and maintain both the Rolls-Royce and Bentley brands. The separation proved beneficial for both businesses, allowing each to focus on their core competencies without the distractions that had contributed to the earlier crisis. In 1980, the British government sold Rolls-Royce Motors to Vickers plc for £40 million. Vickers, an engineering conglomerate with interests in defence, shipbuilding, and other industrial sectors, provided stability and investment for the luxury car brands during a challenging period for the global automotive industry. Under Vickers' ownership, Rolls-Royce Motors underwent significant changes. Former Rolls-Royce CEO David Plasto was placed in the Vickers leadership, and he led an extensive restructuring through the 1980s. The company streamlined operations by eliminating nearly half of its more than 50 subsidiaries and refocused on strategic markets. During the 1980s and 1990s, Rolls-Royce Motors faced challenges from global recessions, the Persian Gulf War, and the Asian economic collapse of the late 1990s. The company struggled with reduced demand for luxury vehicles and had not introduced a new model in nearly 20 years. In response, the division reorganized its production methods, slashed its workforce, and began development of the Silver Serif, which was introduced in 1998. A marketing survey in 1987 revealed the enduring power of the Rolls-Royce brand, showing that only Coca-Cola was more widely known than Rolls-Royce. This brand recognition would prove crucial in the complex ownership changes that lay ahead. By the late 1990s, Vickers decided to sell Rolls-Royce Motors, setting in motion one of the most complex and contentious corporate acquisitions in automotive history. The sale process revealed fundamental issues with trademark ownership that would reshape the luxury car industry. The leading contender appeared to be BMW, which had been supplying engines and other components for Rolls-Royce and Bentley cars. BMW's engineering partnership with Rolls-Royce seemed to position it perfectly for acquisition. However, BMW's final offer of £340 million was outbid by Volkswagen Group's £430 million offer. The complexity arose from trademark ownership. While Vickers owned the vehicle designs, production facilities, Spirit of Ecstasy mascot, and grille-shaped trademarks, the crucial Rolls-Royce brand name and logo were controlled by Rolls-Royce plc, the aerospace engine manufacturer. This separation had occurred during the 1973 restructuring and had been largely overlooked during the acquisition negotiations. Rolls-Royce plc, which had recently developed joint business ventures with BMW, chose to license the Rolls-Royce name and logo to BMW for £40 million rather than to Volkswagen. This decision was influenced by the aerospace company's existing relationship with BMW and their preference for BMW as the steward of the automotive brand. The situation became more complex due to BMW's existing supply agreements. BMW had a contract to supply engines and components to Rolls-Royce Motors with the right to cancel with 12 months' notice. Volkswagen would be unable to re-engineer the vehicles to use alternative engines within that time frame. Faced with these complications, BMW and Volkswagen entered into negotiations to resolve the trademark and supply issues. The resulting agreement, announced on July 28, 1998, created a complex transition arrangement that satisfied both companies' interests. Under the agreement, BMW acquired the Rolls-Royce name and logo from Rolls-Royce plc for $65 million, widely regarded as a bargain for potentially the most valuable asset in the deal. BMW would also regain the Spirit of Ecstasy and grille-shaped trademarks from Volkswagen. The transition was structured to occur over several years. Volkswagen could continue to use the Rolls-Royce name until December 31, 2002, while BMW agreed to continue supplying engines and components during this period. This arrangement gave BMW time to build a new manufacturing facility and develop new models while allowing Volkswagen to continue production and recoup its investment. Starting January 1, 2003, BMW would become the exclusive manufacturer of Rolls-Royce branded cars through a new company, Rolls-Royce Motor Cars Limited. Volkswagen would retain full ownership of Bentley and the Crewe factory. This clean division allowed both companies to focus on their respective luxury brands without ongoing conflicts. BMW's approach to reviving Rolls-Royce was comprehensive and strategic. Rather than simply continuing production at an existing facility, the company chose to create an entirely new headquarters and manufacturing plant, symbolically representing a fresh start for the historic brand. The location chosen was the Goodwood estate in West Sussex, England, owned by the Earl of March, later Duke of Richmond. The site was particularly appropriate given Goodwood's associations with motorsport through the Goodwood Circuit and Festival of Speed, events well known to Rolls-Royce's target clientele. BMW engaged award-winning architect Sir Nicholas Grimshaw to design the facility. The resulting building was a striking example of sustainable architecture, featuring a 3.5-hectare living roof planted with sedum plants, the largest such roof in the UK. The design blended seamlessly into the surrounding countryside, with limestone and cedar cladding helping the building integrate with the area of outstanding natural beauty in which it was situated. The new facility officially opened on January 1, 2003, with the first Goodwood-produced Phantom delivered to its owner at the stroke of midnight. This symbolic moment marked the beginning of a new era for Rolls-Royce, combining cutting-edge manufacturing technology with traditional handcrafted techniques. Under BMW ownership, Rolls-Royce has systematically expanded and refined its product lineup while maintaining the brand's core values of luxury, craftsmanship, and exclusivity. Each new model has been carefully positioned to serve specific segments of the ultra-luxury market while advancing the brand's technological capabilities. The Phantom 7, launched in 2003, served as Rolls-Royce's flagship and re-established the brand's position at the pinnacle of the automotive spectrum. This model demonstrated BMW's commitment to maintaining Rolls-Royce's traditional values while incorporating modern technology and manufacturing techniques. The Phantom has undergone several iterations, with the current Phantom 8 representing the culmination of continuous development and refinement. The Ghost, introduced in 2009, represented Rolls-Royce's entry into the slightly smaller luxury sedan segment. Named in honor of the legendary Silver Ghost, this model attracted a new generation of customers while maintaining the brand's core values. The Ghost has been followed by several variants and updates, including the current Ghost Series 2 launched in 2025. The product range expanded further with the introduction of the Wraith Coupe and Dawn Convertible, providing customers with additional body styles while maintaining the brand's emphasis on luxury and craftsmanship. Each model incorporates extensive customization options through Rolls-Royce's bespoke program, allowing customers to create truly unique vehicles. Perhaps the most significant expansion came with the introduction of the Cullinan in 2018, Rolls-Royce's first SUV. This model represented a major departure from traditional Rolls-Royce body styles but proved highly successful in attracting customers who desired the brand's luxury and craftsmanship in a more versatile package. The Cullinan has become one of the brand's most popular models, reflecting changing customer preferences while maintaining Rolls-Royce standards. The launch of the Spectre in 2023 marked another historic milestone for Rolls-Royce as its first fully electric vehicle. This model represents the fulfillment of a prophecy made over a century earlier by Charles Rolls, who predicted in 1900 that electric vehicles would be ideal for urban use due to their silence and lack of emissions. The Spectre development program was the most exhaustive in Rolls-Royce history, involving over 2.5 million kilometers of testing to simulate more than 400 years of typical use. The vehicle achieves an EPA range of 264 miles, WLTP range of 321 miles, and features a drag coefficient of 0.25, making it the most aerodynamic production Rolls-Royce ever built. The Spectre incorporates a redesigned Spirit of Ecstasy mascot, with flowing roads reshaped for improved aerodynamics and reduced from 100 mm to 83 mm in height. This updated design will appear on future Rolls-Royce models, representing the brand's evolution while maintaining its iconic imagery. Rolls-Royce has committed to complete electrification of its entire product portfolio by 2030. The Spectre serves as both the beginning of this transition and proof that electric technology can deliver the refinement, performance, and luxury that define the Rolls-Royce experience. The Goodwood facility represents a unique approach to luxury automotive manufacturing, combining advanced technology with traditional handcrafted techniques. The facility currently employs more than 2,500 people, including highly skilled manufacturing and craft specialists, with an additional 7,500 employed across Rolls-Royce's UK supply chain. Production has grown dramatically since the facility's opening. While the plant initially employed around 300 people and produced just one car daily, it now manufactures up to 28 cars daily. Despite this growth in volume, every Rolls-Royce continues to be built by hand with extensive customization through the company's bespoke program. The bespoke program has become increasingly sophisticated and profitable for the company. In 2024, bespoke content value increased by 10% per car year-over-year. The program allows customers to specify unique paint colors, interior materials, decorative elements, and even one-off design features. Some of the most complex projects, such as the Starlight Headliner, have required expanding from 4 to 17 workstations since the option was introduced. Rolls-Royce has achieved remarkable commercial success under BMW ownership. The company recorded its third highest annual sales level ever in 2024 with 5,712 units sold worldwide. This performance was driven by robust sales in Europe and North America, along with the launch of 4 new models including the Ghost Series 2 and Cullinan Series 2. The success has enabled significant reinvestment in the business. In January 2025, Rolls-Royce announced plans to invest more than £300 million to expand the Goodwood facility. This investment, the largest since the plant's opening in 2003, will provide additional space for increasingly complex bespoke and coach build projects while preparing the facility to support the transition to all-electric vehicle production. The expansion reflects growing demand for highly personalized luxury vehicles. The company's private offices network, an exclusive invitation-only service, expanded in 2024 with new locations in Seoul and New York, joining existing offices in Shanghai and Dubai. A 2023 independent study by the London School of Economics revealed that Rolls-Royce Motor Cars contributes approximately £500 million annually to the UK economy. This impact extends far beyond the Goodwood facility through the company's extensive supply chain and the luxury ecosystem that has developed around the brand. The company's commitment to the UK market has been reinforced through its investment decisions and employment growth. The creation of 180 new jobs during 2023 alone demonstrates the continuing expansion of high-skilled manufacturing in Britain. The company's dedication to training and developing craftspeople ensures the preservation of traditional skills while adapting them to modern manufacturing requirements. As Rolls-Royce approaches its 125th anniversary, the company stands as a testament to the enduring appeal of exceptional craftsmanship and engineering excellence. From Henry Royce's first 2-cylinder car in 1904 to today's fully electric Spectre, the brand has consistently evolved while maintaining its core values of quality, luxury, and attention to detail. The journey from a chance meeting in a Manchester hotel to a global symbol of luxury automotive excellence encompasses some of the most dramatic chapters in industrial history. The company has survived 2 world wars, financial collapse, nationalization, privatization, and multiple ownership changes while continuously advancing the boundaries of automotive technology and luxury. Today's Rolls-Royce faces the challenge of maintaining its exclusive appeal while adapting to changing customer preferences and environmental requirements. The transition to electrification, while technologically complex, aligns perfectly with the brand's founding principles of refinement, silence, and effortless performance. Charles Rolls's century-old prediction about electric vehicles proves remarkably prescient as the company embarks on its all-electric future. The expansion of the Goodwood facility and the continued growth in bespoke demand suggest that the appetite for truly personalized luxury remains strong among the world's most discerning customers. As Rolls-Royce continues to evolve, its commitment to handcrafted excellence and technological innovation ensures that Henry Royce's philosophy of taking the best that exists and making it better remains as relevant today as it was at the company's founding. The story of Rolls-Royce is far from complete. With plans for complete electrification by 2030 and continued investment in manufacturing capabilities, The company is positioned to write new chapters in automotive luxury while honoring the extraordinary legacy created by two visionary founders more than a century ago. The brand that established itself as creating the best car in the world continues to pursue that standard with the same dedication to perfection that has defined Rolls-Royce throughout its remarkable 120-year history.